Yeah, I do. I honestly think that within the next 30 years, we will look at ADHD and autism as the same thing. If not from a kind of neurological point of view, definitely from a kind of treatment and intervention and support point of view, because executive function is like in both of those neurotypes, it's such a massive thing. Those are things we definitely have problems with. I think in all forms of neurodivergence, there's definitely changes in executive functioning. Why we struggle with stuff that other people seem to not even realise is a task.
Welcome to the Unconventional Business Podcast, your place for real stories of real people growing their businesses in the real world. Most of us are neurodivergent in some way, but of course everyone is welcome. This is the place for rule breakers, narrative dismantlers, and those who just want to forge their own unique path in the world. You will find no do it my way or 6 steps to 6 figures and all that BS here. My guests and I will offer guidance that allows you to take just the bits you like and easily apply them to your business. And of course, to bin the rest if you like. After all, building a successful business, whatever success means to you, is about creating something with structure and flow, not something rigid that feels like wearing someone else's clothes. Join me on this journey and together, let's do business differently. Joining me today is Liz Vanderput, aka Actually Autistic Adult, neurodiversity trainer for workplaces and more. We connected on LinkedIn and, as neurodivergent folks tend to do, bonded over a shared thought instantly and then ended up coming up with the idea for Liz to come on the podcast. So yeah, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I'll start with my favourite question. What makes you unconventional?
It's probably easier to answer what's the one thing that would make me conventional, and that is like drive a car. Yeah, quite a lot makes me unconventional. I said generally quite gender non-conforming as well. So I used to be a butcher, and people would go, "Oh, that's a strange job for a woman." I'm like, not really, because nobody's ever needed to like use a particular body part to do butchery, and if you do, you're probably doing it wrong. And environmental health would have a few words to say about that. So comments like that have always made me think, really, is it that strange? I've done things like Morris dancing, which is fairly unconventional. There's not much that makes me conventional, put it that way.
I love that. That's a fantastic answer. Yeah, it just makes me think of like, even now in 2024, if my son, my 6-year-old, dares to wear a pink jumper, that we get so many comments about it. And I'm like, he's a child. Like, this is not groundbreaking, folks.
Yeah, this is not the first time that's ever happened. People are allowed to wear like whatever colour they want.
Yeah. Or if he puts makeup on, or I don't know, we play an imaginary game where he's the mum, or like, this is all the stuff I did when I was a kid. Yeah, blows my mind. So yes, so tell me about more about what you do.
Well, I'm a neurodiversity trainer, so I go into workplaces. I actually do most of my work online, which is way easier. There's no travelling. There's way less small talk. I don't have to park anywhere. It's all good. So I train employers and employees about neurodiversity. Some people know a bit about it. Some people know they're neurodivergent. Other people have got absolutely no idea. So by the end of the session, I like to get everyone to a similar sort of place, so they at least know what the word means. They know what some of the conditions are, and sometimes people go, "Oh, actually, I think you may have just found the answer to the question I've been asking, because everything you've said," I'm going, "Yeah, no, but that's me. I do that. Okay, yeah, I didn't realise that was a thing." And that's probably the most rewarding part of it, is helping other neurodivergent people find out that they're part of our really cool club. Yes. And also helping parents, because sometimes some of the things I talk about, they're like, okay, that helps me make so much more sense about my kid and why, this happens to them. And I didn't know why it was happening. I didn't understand what was going on. And now I know more. So although it's like workplace based, I think it goes a bit further than that, because it's getting a conversation started.
That's amazing. So how did you get into that as a career?
It's about the only thing left that I haven't done that I could still do. My CV is one of those. I'm one of those neurodivergent people who's done like nearly everything, and hasn't ever stayed very long in one job. I've never been fired, but things just, how things work out. I get burnt out, or sometimes it's been physical health or redundancy or whatever. and I tend to then just go and do something completely different. So getting on the second rung of this career ladder nonsense isn't something I've ever really managed to do. I tend to go and do something else. I kind of fell into butchery by mistake because I had this romantic notion of the good life and having sheep, and it turns out I can't run fast enough to chase lambs. And I'm like, they're probably a bit easier to deal with when they're on the next stage of their culinary journey, as it were. And I found I really enjoyed that. Practical work, it's satisfying. You can see like what you've done. When you spend a day working as a butcher, you know everything you've done is going to feed somebody. It's going to mean something. Whereas if you spend a day writing a report that you know no one's going to read, it's a bit soul destroying, really. So yeah, I really like that. And then my physical health kind of got in the way. I had to give that up. I'm like, I really don't know what else I can do. But I could be an electrician. That's about the only thing I've tried that I know I could do. I'm like, actually, I really don't. I'm not good on ladders. Okay, so what can I do? I can talk. And I can come up with stuff and I can explain things. Okay, neurodiversity training. So kind of by accident, but actually I do really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think everything that all of us can do to spread awareness is so important, but so much the better if you can make a living out of it, because I think there's a lot of people I see out there giving up their time and energy for free to spread awareness. And not just in the neurodiversity space, it's the same in like the anti-racism space and lots of others. People are giving out a lot to try and raise awareness and educate people, and I do think like there has to be a line somewhere. You need to put food on the table and you deserve to have a reasonably nice house to live in.
Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, I live with my mum, so I do have a reasonably nice house to live in. I haven't got to pay the mortgage, or actually doesn't either. But yeah, it's taken quite a long time to get to the point where I'm actually earning money doing it. So a lot of the stuff that I've done to get here, I've done loads of unpaid work, loads of unpaid stuff. I'm part of an advocacy group for non-speakers. I'll just do my little ally bit, which is please don't use the term non-verbal. We prefer non-speaker.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Tick that little box.
Tell me more about that.
The term non-verbal, it means no words or without words. And that's not true. People who are non-speaking don't have the function of the motor function of speech. It's not that they don't have anything to say. Their speech is a motor function and language is a cognitive function. You don't have to be able to make sounds with your mouth to be able to think and to express and communicate things. I always point out to people that Professor Stephen Hawking was non-speaking for most of his life. That didn't stop people listening to him. So just because somebody cannot make sounds with their mouth or can't reliably make sounds with their mouth, it doesn't mean that there's nothing going on inside. I think it's a bit of a misconception that if you can't speak, then you can't communicate. That's not true.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. Because I use non-verbal about myself when I have like my shutdown moments where I can't communicate, but obviously the rest of the time I can. That makes a lot of sense. That and I've always thought, whenever I've read about people sharing experiences of like their non-speaking kids, like I never quite get a sense of. I always think, well, there must be something going on in there that they must be able to communicate in other ways, and especially the stories they're telling. But there's never quite that, and then I never know quite how to ask that question without. I don't want to come off like a dickhead. So, but yeah, that's really helpful to know. So, what was your journey with autism? What was your light bulb moment?
I read an article it was somewhere online, I can't even remember now. It was written by somebody who was late diagnosed. She'd worked with autistic children for her whole career, and then she realised in her late 50s that she was autistic. Wow. And I'm reading it going, oh, hang on, what's that sound? Oh, that's many pennies dropping. Like this makes all of the sense. This is the thing. So I kind of went, right, let's research the hell out of this. And that's a massive tick in the diagnostic box there, isn't it? So I went into like the rabbit hole of what is autism and what are the online tests and all of that. And I did all of those loads of times, and it was like, yeah, you're pretty much autistic. I did get it formally confirmed, the diagnosis, but only because we thought it might help with getting workplace accommodations if I went, back into a workplace where I'm working for somebody else, which, to be honest, I've always struggled with being like told what to do and given direction and having to do things in a certain way, because if it doesn't make sense to me, my brain just won't do it. I can't force my brain into a different mold. Like, it just works the way it works. And that's another reason that I do what I do, because I can do it self-employed. I can be my own boss. And I'm quite nice as a boss. If I want a day off, I'll give myself a day off, you know.
Oh, I love to hear that. That's music to my ears.
Yes. Oh, I try and do. I wouldn't say have like hours. I don't say have office hours as such. I certainly have time slots in the week where I'm like, okay, don't do anything on these days, because those are free for clients if I get requests in. But at the same time, if I need to work on a weekend because my brain is going, do you know what, we're in the mood to do a bit of development or some admin, or actually, why don't we do your tax return? Okay, that never happens. My brain's never randomly in the mood for a tax return. But I can manage my own time, so I can make sure I don't get behind on stuff, but I do it when my brain is happy to do it. Where did we start on this one? How did I realise I was autistic? Because I go off on a lot of tangents. Yeah.
Ditto.
And then, and then I realised, so I was 33 when I read this article. I was 35 when I was diagnosed. And then I started having some private counselling with a neurodivergent specialist counsellor, which was like the first time I've had talking therapy that's helped, because she got it. We didn't have to explain anything. We didn't spend sessions working out how I could get around my problem of somebody's whistling annoying me, because now we know that's a sensory sensitivity, and actually I should be able to ask that person to stop. I shouldn't have to keep like dealing with that and suppressing that and then being burnt out by the end of the day because I've had this fucking noise in my head all day. And she started suggesting that I might like to look into ADHD, and I was like, no, that's not me. I don't have any problem focusing when I want to, when I'm interested in the subject matter. I can multitask. I mean, yes, but it's the task flitting. It's what you were describing on one of your podcasts. You were like, I'll start an email and then I'll go and do something else and I'll come back and write a bit more. I do that. And I was like, I don't have any problem with my attention. No, and it turns out, ADHD is not a problem with your attention. It's differences in your attention. It's not a deficit of attention. I can sit still. You're allowed to do that and have ADHD, it turns out. So over the years, I've kind of worked out like a few more of the aspects of my neurodivergence. I'm like, okay, this is what's going on there. And I'm not just crap at PE, I'm dyspraxic. I've always explained to people, like, I have a physical learning disability. Even before I knew what dyspraxia was, I was like, I have this thing. If you tell me to do some kind of motion, like try ice skating, anything that involves balance, coordination, drumming, learning to drive, all of this stuff, I'm like, I will not be able to do it. My brain does not translate these things to my body. And it turns out I do have a physical learning disability, because that's what dyspraxia is. Sorry, that was a really long ramble all the way from...
It's fascinating. Thank you for sharing. And my selfish interest when we were talking is the crossover between ADHD and autism. I see like varying stats, but it just seems to be in so many people I know, and so many people getting dual diagnoses. And I don't know, like, I wonder if it's a secret third other thing. And I think even if you look at all the traits, all the different ways autism can manifest, it seems that one word is way too broad for all those different manifestations and the huge range of support needs. And then you, even within ADHD, there's 3 different types, and then there's ADHD autism crossover, and then there's a really high stat of people with dyslexia that are ADHD. And I don't think we've got any of this stuff right. I think it's hopefully over the next couple of decades going to become a lot more refined. But selfishly, the ADHD autism crossover, any content I read from people with dual diagnoses, I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's me. That's totally me. There are very, very few things that I don't identify with. So, what's your sense of, like, because the people I speak to, there can often feel like an internal war, because some of the traits are quite in conflict, aren't they? Like, What's your
Yeah.
sense of how that coexists in your brain?
I think at times in my life I've really struggled with it, because when you have to do something because that's your task that day at work, and your brain is like, no, that's not happening. We're definitely, the autism bit is winning today, or the ADHD bit is winning today. Then it's just not happening. So I think I experience less of a internal battle now, because I will just go with what my brain wants to do, because that's the path of least resistance. I kind of treat my brain sometimes like a separate entity, like a slightly demanding toddler that really likes sweets.
I use that analogy all the time.
Yeah, just give the toddler the sweets and it will cooperate. There's no point trying to make my brain do something it doesn't want to do. It's not happening. Yeah, I honestly think that within the next 30 years, we will look at ADHD and autism as the same thing. If not from a kind of neurological point of view, definitely from a kind of treatment and intervention and support point of view, because executive function is, like, in both of those neurotypes, it's such a massive thing. Those are things we definitely have problems with. I think in all forms of neurodivergence, there's definitely changes in executive functioning. Is why we struggle with stuff that other people seem to not even realize is a task. I think the sensory sensitivities as well. Like, I don't know anyone with ADHD that is fine in a noisy, busy place, and you would think, oh, ADHDers must love it when it's really hectic. That doesn't seem to be the case at all.
It's got to be the right type of noise, though.
Yeah.
Like a cafe that's big enough that my brain can process the whole thing as a humdrum. I can slot it into this is background noise. That can really help me focus. But like taking my kid to soft play, which I don't really do anymore, thank Christ.
Sounds horrendous.
With like varying, it's not what my sound engineer husband would call a noise floor. It's not like one thing I can lump together and put over there in my brain. It's got peaks and troughs, and it's got upset children crying, which triggers my emotions, and it's just, and the lights, and oh my God, too much. So yeah, there's definitely like very specific, it's like some fabrics are like heaven, and then others are like, I want to vomit.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, sound is like texture. There is a texture to sound, and very dense, rough sound is hell, and very smooth, nice sound is fine. And I can deal with that at practically any volume. So it's like, autistic people hate loud noise. No, I'm fine with loud noise.
So right. It's the noise I want.
If it's abrasive against my brain, then we're not doing it. If it's fine on my brain, we can cope with that at any volume for any length of time. Yeah, it's all about getting the right. It's got to be the right input for what your senses need.
And it's the same with. I mean, my sense of smell since I had my son is just off the chart. Like, I cannot be anywhere near anybody with perfume or aftershave. I can't bear it. It's like instant migraine. There's one mum on the school run, and I can smell her like 100 yards behind, and I can't bear her perfume, and it's just, there's nothing I can do about it. To your point about the whistling person, like, I can't go up to her and go, you really ruined my school run with your perfume. But I do say to my husband, please don't wear aftershave, because I can't deal with it. And the funny thing I've noticed about sensory sensitivity is it's almost like there's a capacity. So if my kind of battery for the day is running low, I've got like zero tolerance. But if I'm reasonably charged up and I haven't had anything too draining happening, I can cope with a little bit more. But like, I just get this thing now where I'm like, no, I'm out, I'm gone, I've got to go.
Yeah, I completely get what you mean. I'm the same with my mum. She likes to tap her fingers.
Oh, my husband does that. Always drumming. He's always drumming.
I can't stand it. And there are some days where I'm like, I'm okay. I haven't had to do anything too taxing today. I'm going to let her do, because she doesn't do it constantly. She'll do it for like 2 or 3 rounds, and then we're done. And then there are other days where she starts and I go, no, not today. Haven't got the capacity. She gets it. I mean, we're our whole family basically is neurodivergent. We've realised this as we've kind of gone, oh, that's why Liz is the way Liz is. And oh, hang on, that's why our uncle is like that. And okay, do you think grandma had ADHD? Yes, definitely. We look back.
It's amazing.
Like, yeah.
It's amazing once you get that set of lenses that you can then look back at your family history and see it. Like, I don't know if in my son it will manifest as ADHD, but 100% he fits the highly sensitive personality type. And I think they're one and the same. It's my theory is you're born with a sensitivity trait, and it's your early experiences that dictate whether that manifests particularly negatively. And I don't mean necessarily negatively for you, but negatively in the environments that you have to operate in, like school and work, which it certainly did for me. But because he's in environments where, like, he has a very emotionally supportive mum and dad who are constantly making space for his outbursts and helping him process his emotions, and his school is very outdoorsy, and it's very all the 4 different learning types, kinesthetic, audio, visual. It's very, so I'm like, well, in the right environment, your sensitivity is mostly manifesting positively for you at the moment. But I'm like, I've got my beady eye out, like, how's that going to pan out as school requires you to sit down more or do things like tests, and the perfectionism is going to start playing in. So yeah, it's such a fascinating time to be alive, seeing all this awareness come out and seeing all these people have these ways of figuring themselves out, and then looking back and going, oh, that was that weird uncle.
Yeah, that's where that comes from.
That's my really kooky grandma.
Yes, yeah. That's why she had 20 different craft projects started, but nowhere near completion. Now we're like, well, that's basically diagnostic, isn't it? I mean, you could rewrite the diagnostic criteria just from looking at, like, your own traits and those of your friends and family. If you rewrote the diagnostic criteria, I think a lot of us would come up with something that was ADHD. We would come up with autism and ADHD. If you compared the experience of most neurodivergent people, or a lot of the neurodivergent people I know, certainly, and then you cross-reference that against this is what's in the ICD, this is the DSM, you'd be like, clearly this is these 2 things are the same. These are the same neurotype, just with many more different combinations of traits and criteria.
Yeah, and so much of it is environmental, isn't it? And I hope that that's where we're moving, is away from the medical model of these things and towards the social disability model, where we're saying to people, there's actually nothing wrong with you. These are just not the right, you've not got the right support in place. You're not in the right environment. These are not the right conditions. And I see that sometimes I see this message, but it's still got that capitalist overlay of, well, if you support neurodivergent workers, we'll work harder for your company and we'll help you make more model. And I'm like, no. I think you've missed the point there.
This isn't about the money. This is about, like, employee well-being and I know.
Yeah, and just not being a dick and being a nice person. Like, we're not here to help you make more money. Like, if we want to work and contribute and this is what we want to do, we deserve to be supported. Exactly like you would put an access ramp on your front door for someone in a wheelchair. We might need a note taker to come with us to meetings. Like, my otter follows me everywhere. I literally don't know how I lived without it.
I'm absolutely visualising this little otter coming behind you with a tiny notebook. How can I get this service animal?
What does upset me about Otter, so it's this Otter AI software that takes notes. So it records, transcribes, and gives you a little summary of your meeting and documents all the action points. But they don't make use of the actual animal, the otter. 100%. There should be, like, otter GIFs in all the automated emails.
Yeah.
I bloody love an otter.
They should give you, you should actually have a live otter. I mean, they are quite vicious if they don't get fed. They've got very sharp teeth.
Really?
But they're really cute. Yeah, they've got otters at the British Wildlife Centre. And there's one that just sleeps the whole time, and there's a piece of perspex over his holt, so you can just go in and just literally watch him sleeping. It's the cutest thing.
Cute.
And then at feeding time, they come out and are like scratching at each other.
They do make a crazy noise, don't they?
Yeah. And
I just have cats, and they basically have, like, no real use whatsoever, other than I am learning, or sort of coming to this realization about why it's so important for me to always have a pet. And it is the like co-regulation thing. So stroking an animal reduces your heart rate, doesn't it? And then there's also a thing about a cat's, the frequency of a cat's purr. The reason it is where it is when they hurt themselves, they go into a little hole and they purr, and that purr frequency helps them heal. So if a cat comes and sits on you and purrs, you're getting some of that healing frequency. So it's really helped me every now and then where I'm like, oh, fuck off, you've got muddy paws. I'm like, no, wipe the paws, come and give me a cuddle. Like, I want your healing vibes, mate.
Okay, when I'm next at the pub and the pub cat seems to love me and it will sit on my lap and it purrs, but it also does the biscuits with its claws out. Oh, and I've got little holes all up my leg, little marks where it's. So I'm like, you're healing me whilst you're inflicting the damage. This is remarkably efficient, actually. Yeah.
There's just nothing more cat than that, is there?
No. Yeah. It's a very cute cat, but very sharp claws.
So I'd love to know what you think everyone believes about neurodiversity that isn't true. Like, what gets you on your soapbox?
Oh, how long have we got? I mean, I think it's probably all the stuff in the kind of general arena of, oh, but you'd never know. Oh, you don't look autistic, but you're high functioning, right? Is that but you're high functioning, right? There's just so much in that language I could unpack all afternoon. I've actually written a blog with that title, and it's people say it. Apparently, it's a compliment, but like it's not a compliment if you're telling if wrapped up in that phrasing, you are implying your neurotype is a bad thing, but you'd never know that you were one of them. It's just really frustrating, and people think they're trying to be nice, and you're like, you're not complimenting me at all. You're actually kind of insulting the entire community. And on behalf of all of us, fuck you.
Yeah. You're basically saying, oh, but you appear to be really good at squashing yourself and shaving parts off yourself to make yourself more palatable to everyone else.
Yeah. You're like, thanks. Where's my fucking BAFTA?
Yeah.
But we don't get much time off from this method acting thing. People get paid like millions of dollars to inhabit a role for months at a time, and then they take loads of time off and go to some kind of wellness spa in the desert and get looked after. We don't get any of that. We have to do it all the time. People don't see that, and they also don't. I think people think if you can do one thing, you can do another thing. They kind of think, oh, but you're really intelligent. You can pick up language really fast. Why can't you ride a bike? I'm like, those are not the same two skills. Those are really, really very different things. I don't know how to break this to you, but one is to do with language and the other one is to do with balance and proprioception. And I don't have any of that. I think people don't understand the spiky profile nature of it.
Yes.
They don't understand that there is no one way to seem neurodivergent because it's so different. I mean, it would be like me walking up to someone with blonde hair and going, oh, but you don't seem blonde. You'd never know if you were wearing a hat. It's complete bullshit. When you start to think of it like that, you're like, yeah, why would there be a look? Why would there be a way to seem autistic? And then at the same time, I think I can notice autism in other people. And I'm like, there is definitely something that it's not a look, but it's recognizing your own traits and recognizing traits that you know are down to like neurodivergence. It's almost like it's okay within, like if you're in the same club, it's cool. You can notice that in someone else. But if you're not in the club, don't come here and make judgments.
It's a bit like gaydar. I feel like I have gaydar for ADHD. It's like I can just stand next to someone and they don't even have to speak. And it's like this thing. And my thing now is I will talk about ADHD so they know I'm safe to talk to. Yeah. And they'll either open up or they won't. But just so I flag, like, by the way, through talking about this, I hope I'm communicating. You can tell me if this is relevant to you. And the amount of disclosures I've had, especially like after school in the park when all the parents hang out and let the kids do stuff, like, and I'll say it sometimes to people and they'll be like, well, how can you know that? And I'm like, I don't know, I just know. There's a felt sense, there's like telepathy.
yeah definitely,
there's just a darkness, there's a shared darkness, and I'm like, yeah, I know what flavour that is.
It's something to do with brain waves, I'm sure.
Yeah,
because people can pick up on the brain waves, like the vibe of people around them. So it must be something to do with that. It's got to be something to do with I can sense some kind of chaotic energy.
Yeah.
Ordered chaos. It's coming from somewhere. Who is that? It's almost like somebody with their perfume. God, who's wearing that? And you're looking around trying to detect, where is this vibe coming from? It's that person scrabbling madly in their handbag for the keys that they are holding in their other hand. You're like, yes, I can see you're ADHD, aren't you? We've all been there. We've all done that. Like looking for your glasses when you're actually looking through them. They're not even on your head. You're actually physically using them. I can't find the glasses.
Yeah. All the time. All of those things. So yeah, if people, I feel like I could talk to you all day, but I do try to keep these podcasts short with it in mind that the people listening might not have the longest attention span.
Yeah, and you've got to edit as well.
So. I know. If people are listening and they're like, some of the things we've shared today have resonated with them, what sort of first step would you suggest people take if they're listening and going, oh my God, that sounds like me?
I would get onto the good old-fashioned social media platform of Facebook and get into a few groups for neurodivergent adults. The thing about Facebook I don't actually use any of the others because I'm just into that demographic. I mean, this is an excuse. There's no reason why I shouldn't use TikTok. Oh no, there's a good reason I shouldn't use TikTok. I have ADHD. I will never get anything done if I have TikTok.
True story.
But the problem with like short form video and really short form stuff is that sometimes you don't get the full picture. You don't get all of the context to understand like why a certain trait is related to a certain neurotype and what that actually means. So Facebook has the videos are longer. There's more space for text. It's just Facebook allows for different types of content. So it's a bit easier to digest. You can find the way that works for you. And so, joining a few Facebook groups and just lurking for the first couple of weeks and just reading stuff and going, okay, this resonates with me. And then you kind of start to pitch in and weigh in and get involved. But I think social media is a really good place to start. You're connecting with the community. The last thing I would recommend anyone to do is go and read any research papers at all, because it's frankly quite upsetting reading about yourself in that language. Whenever I read a paper, I have to be like, right, I have to get myself mentally into the mindset where I can go, they're talking about me, but not me specifically. It's okay. I have to sort of detach myself a little bit so I can take the information in without going, how dare they describe us like that? But go to the community. I always say that we are greater. The collective intelligence of the neurodivergent community is greater than that of the average psychologist. So you will get much more information, much better information from the community than you will from the average doctor, counsellor, therapist, whoever. And then go and do some of the online tests. The ones for autism are pretty reliable. The RADs are the Richvo Autism Asperger Diagnostic Scale Revised. I kind of have to say that out loud whenever I say it because I'm autistic. Just can't get past it otherwise. There was a Dutch study that they did with that tool, and 70% of the people identified as autistic by that screening tool had the diagnosis confirmed by a doctor. So it's fairly reliable. This isn't a kind of Dr. Google situation. These are short form versions of the tools that are used when you're clinically diagnosed.
I know what I'm going to be doing later.
There we are, aspitests.org. That was the URL was set up long before, I think, before we started understanding that we don't use that term anymore.
Yes.
And it's even not in any of the diagnostic manuals anymore, not to sort of steamroller over anyone's identity, but in terms of that particular bit of language, there is some sensitivity needed in all angles on that one. So the community and some online diagnostic tests, I think that's how I got from what the fuck is wrong with me to there's nothing fucking wrong with me.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. And actually, I always say to people, the two things you need to do are educate yourself and connect with some other people on the same journey. And what you've shared, Jet, there is the perfect way to do both of those things together. And also to be able to read about people's lived experiences and pick up on some of those nuances we've been talking about today. Because when you read the bald traits, or my least favourite word in this space, symptoms, because we're not fucking ill, are we?
No.
You can be like, I rejected it for so long because one of the first ones with ADHD was gets bored easily. And I was like, I don't get bored. Like, my brain is like this insane, multifaceted party. I would say from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed, probably whilst I'm asleep as well, it never fucking stops.
Yeah.
So, of course, I don't get bored because there's all this shit going on.
There's always something to do.
But it took reading that comment broken out into lots of different manifestations for me to go, oh, if I bring it up a level, gets bored of relationships, gets bored of jobs, gets bored of living like location. Oh, that's me.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the massive problems with the ADHD screening tool is that the questions don't make sense. They're so vague. They are so vague. And a lot of the time you're like, well, I don't have any problem with this because I've got a strategy for that. And I've worked out that I don't experience this because I spend quite a lot of my energy making sure that I don't forget stuff. Whatever it is. Definitely reading other people's experiences. I've got a lot of articles on my blog about my experience. I need to migrate my website so it's got a search function. So I'm going through and making a spreadsheet of all the pages. Maybe I won't need to. I have no idea, but I've started doing it and I'm bloody well going to finish it. And I'm like, God, I've got so much stuff on here that I've written. And some of it, I'm like, I might not migrate that page over. I might just leave that one out. And some of it, I'm like, yes, this reminds me of, stuff I used to struggle with, but don't so much now. Or, this reminds me of something somebody said on a Facebook post. And I'll go and pop a link in and go, this is my take on it. And it's really important for us to share our stories for our own community, so that we don't feel so alone, and for other people coming into it. But that conversation's got to keep going all the time because new people are coming into it all the time.
Well, it sounds like an amazing resource. Yeah, I think that connecting with people, because there's a certain amount of imposter that comes with these realizations that I think a lot of people don't realize. And I love, like, something I want to reflect back to you that I've really noticed in our conversation today is just how much you embody accepting yourself as you are, understanding yourself as you are, and building strategies or approaching things in a way that works with your brain. Like, you're such a great example of that self-compassion in action. Like, I'm really passionate about that, and it's just really nice to talk to someone who's much further along in that journey, who's like, this is how I'm living, because it's a fucking beautiful thing when don't get me wrong, I know it's a lot of work.
It's taken a lot to get here, and there've been many times where I might not have got anywhere at all, frankly, but
it's a practice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's choice. It's a choice to stay alive, and it's a choice to engage in life. But at the same time, it's not really a choice because the alternative is not doing it at all. So it's forced upon me, but I do embrace it because otherwise life would be really, really shit.
Yeah,
I don't want to go back to that. Nah,
no,
I'm done with life being shit.
Yeah, well, kudos to you.
Thank you.
And it's been an absolute pleasure. So,
it's been great fun.
If people have enjoyed listening to you, and I'm sure they have, how can they find you online, and what can they expect when they do?
You can expect not as much squirrel online as you can in real life when you meet me. Sorry, I love squirrels. The best place to start is my website, blog, actuallyautisticadult.com. I'm dipping a toe in the waters of blue sky, in the sky of blue sky. Ooh. I have no idea if I'm going to take to it or not, but that might become a worky social space. I tend to use LinkedIn for neurodiversity stuff rather than Facebook because most of my friends are really sarcastic bastards. Will post all sorts of inappropriate comments on anything I post on there. So
I love that. I met amazing conversation. I've got a few little nuggets my brain's going to go away and chew on and process later as well. But thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing I find more satisfying than when I'm doing a voice note to a friend when I see an actual squirrel. Yeah. And I'm like, it's not just a squirrel moment, it's a real squirrel.
I do whenever I see it. We've got squirrels in the garden. I'm like, squirrel. And in the middle of a conversation, I'll just stop and get squirrel. And carry on.
Yeah. I love that. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Siobhan. It's been great fun. Thank you.
Real pleasure to talk to you. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do drop this podcast a rating or review. I'd be ever so grateful to reach more of those that need to hear it. So I'd also like to ask you a favour. Who do you know that would benefit from listening to this episode? Please hit share and send it to them too. Thanks so much for listening, and I can't wait to see you here next time. Let's do business differently.